Hello, you're looking to create a fun game. Let's dive into it. I'm thinking that I would want to create some kind of quick make a doggy walk and read somewhere. One of the first things you would want to think on, where do you want to make this dog walk? So it can be a um, lot of different kind of paths you can make. So some of the popular ones are the ones in which the screen scrolls and you just keep making something move. And then you can add a um, lot of different ways to make that interesting. The other popular ones are the maze kinds, where you have structure on one screen and then the object moves around that. I'm going to go with wanting to create like a um, little park for the dog. What I'm using is a series of loops with different colors. So primarily I want the dog to walk over the yellow outer loop in the first level. Yeah. And then created this green level, and then there are, to make it primarily look pretty, at least for this level, we're not really using the inner circles here. So I kind of created that and I was like, okay, now let's pick up a dog. So picked up a sprite of a dog and made it like really, really tiny. So it's at its 25% so that it has sufficient space to walk around in the loop. Now, next thing we would look at what does, what controls, what keys does the player use to do the movement. So it's very common to provide um, one of these four keys or all four of them. That is the upper arrow, up arrow, down arrow, left arrow, and right arrow. They come kind of easy to play with. All four are typically placed on the keyboards together, and they're mostly intuitive for players, for users to play with. So to start the game, initially you want to make sure that there is a setting there. So right on the green flag click, so we've set the position, yeah, and we'll come to the variables, and then want to make sure that the user is not just going to able to pick the sprite up and just put it where they want. So every time the user clicks on the sprite, it is always going to place it back at the starting position. I thought I'll start just with one key. So started with when right arrow key pressed. So if you look at event, this event, it has a lot of keys you can use. So they are the space bar and then the four arrows. Yeah. So picked up when right arrow key pressed. So what do you want to do when right arrow key pressed? And this is where you start putting your code, as so that you can a strategize, think about it, or you can think through a little bit like what you want to do. Like as I said, I thought they're going to make doggy do the loop, but I didn't really think of too many details beyond it because it's creating a simple one. So I started to play around. So the first thing is that because I want it to walk around the yellow track, the first control I took is if it is touching color yellow, right? And remember, touching color, you have a way of making sure that it's exactly the same color by using this tool, right? So it allows you to go and select exactly the color you want. Yeah. So when touching this color, all I wanted to do is move ahead by 10 steps. Yeah, so that's the only thing we're doing as far as the doggy is on yellow and on right key pressed. Okay. Now, when it touches green or white, we wanted to do a few things. So for that, added another set of code that okay, what do we want to do if it touches green? So I wanted to make the dog bark when it touches green. It for some reason doesn't like it. So it's going to bark. And then we're going to make it turn 15 degrees. And also change the Y position by 10 because we wanted to move upwards. Yeah. So now we've got our action on what we want doggy to do when it's on yellow and what do we want to do when it's on green. Now we want to know what it should do when it is on white. So when it's going on white, we are just making it turn inward. So if we start the game and see, we take it, we see it is going pretty well just by using one right key. Okay, we have it all the way here. And now we see here that just by the same code block on the right key, we are not going to be able to complete the loop. Yeah. So now we can use multiple approaches. Either we can use certain more code to continue using the right key and do something else, which could be a little tricky. And the simpler way is give another move another direction to code it on. So then I added when left arrow. And now for the left arrow, we want to do the same thing. We want to say what should it do when it touches the yellow color. So in this case, moving it towards left. So it is move minus 10 steps. Then we want to say what does it do if it touches the white color. Yeah, so when it goes out. So we are making it turn 15 degrees. Same. Okay, and I'll tell you why we have kept it same. And if it is touching green, then again it's barking. It's turning in 15 and it is changing Y by minus 10. So it's a little bit of trial and error that which way you want it to go. And you can keep tweaking it till you have it the way you desire. Now once you have the movement and the motion, the fun part of any game is for user to see some kind of score. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a variable to count how many times the doggy walks the loop. Now to make this simple, added a red line right here. So therefore what we can do is we can keep checking that whenever doggy touches this red line, we increase the count of this loop, which we are calling bump up, by 1. We also play a clap and we use something called the high score. Now this is something you may have usually seen in games. There leaderboard, you can see high scores. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the simplest one score, high score. And when you come to variable, and this, remember now, so this is important. If you're using Scratch desktop and you're working standalone, this is not going to work. The reason is that we are going to be using a variable called cloud variable, which is stored on the server. So that means you need to be online, you need to be connected and working. So this option is available only when you're working on Scratch online. Okay, so if you have been working on Scratch desktop, you will not see it. So we created a variable highest score. Can you see it's got the cloud next to it? It's a cloud variable. So what we're doing every time somebody is completing the loop, we're just checking if that count is higher than the highest score. And if it is, then we want that to become the new highest score. So the logic here, just use the reverse, you can use it anyway. So if highest score is less than the number of loops completed in the current game right now, then we change the highest score, otherwise we don't touch it. We have this ready, we have is set with the first game. Now remember to initialize, you want to make sure you set up your loops to 0, especially if the user touches it. So for instance, these kind of issues you may come across. So like if you don't set up this variable and the user is playing and clicks, you don't bump it up back to 0, so the count can continue. You can choose which way you want it to be. Now the other fun thing which you can definitely immediately add to this game is a timer. That in how much time are you reaching this highest score? So you could have done 10 loops, but you may have taken like 10 minutes, or somebody would have just done it in 4 or 5 minutes. So these are the other ways you make a game more and more interesting for users to play on. Because typically, it's fun to see what kind of scores are possible and till where you can go up as a user. Now here is a little fun challenge for you. So once you are a little bit comfortable and you've played along and you've looked at the code, don't stop there. Make something of your own. So how do you do that? The simplest is, so you sign into your account, come to the project Walk the Talk, and there you will see a remix button. So what this remix button allows you to do is create your own copy. Save a copy, see, it says there, save a copy of this project and add your own ideas. So click on remix. And now what you have is a copy of your own project. You can give it any name, so you can give it the name Walk Dog to Owner. Okay. Now say what you want to do is you want the dog owner to sit right in the center of this park. And now you want the dog to reach there. And now it's up to you, like how do you create, like do you create certain pathways where the dog can walk? Whatever you want to do, you kind of, you decide, you make it happen, and you let the dog meet the owner. So that's one variation. In this way, you can think of many, many different ways. So for instance, you can decide that the dog must, you can create these more connected concentric circles, and that doggy has to walk like this and reach it more like a maze. So yeah, I mean, you think of different variations. You can completely change the image, the picture. You can play with the background, or you can play you can add more like dog meets more dogs. There's a lot more barking. Then what happens? You decide. Make it your own game. I look forward to seeing your remixes. Bye bye.